Discussion and debate. Building an argument. Unit 6. Task A. Read and discuss. Listen to the reading and follow along in your textbook. The reading introduces the topic and some of the key ideas you will need to develop your argument. As you listen, think about your own views on the topic.
For many of us in our daily lives, text messaging has become the most frequent way we write. It's informal, colloquial expressions, or text speak, a linguistic simplicity that might differ significantly from standard language norms, can quickly and conveniently convey what we want to communicate. However, this new writing style raises questions about language corruption and the potential decline in literacy. Some believe the use of abbreviations and a lack of adherence to grammatical rules may lead to language degradation, especially in younger generations who have grown up with texting as a primary form of communication. For instance, emojis can entirely replace words and sentences, and this may impact the ability to write and comprehend longer, more complex texts. While this might be seen as just a sign of the times, attention to the written word is diminishing. However, there's also the argument that texting is simply a natural evolution of language and a form of adaptation to the digital age, an additional way of communicating rather than a replacement. It's not necessarily a breach of traditional communication, but an efficient and direct way to convey messages when speed and convenience are needed. Perhaps rather than harming literacy, texting even enhances linguistic skills by allowing for a more creative and flexible use of language. Whatever the view, it's important to grow with the times and recognize the value of evolving language forms.
Task B. Comprehension check. Consider each question and use information from the reading to develop your response. Think about how these ideas could be used to support either side of the argument. Task C. Vocabulary building. Complete the vocabulary activity. Pay attention to how each word or phrase is used, as you will be encouraged to use this vocabulary when you present your argument. Now check your answers. Task D. Useful idioms. Complete the idiom activity and check the meaning of each expression. Consider whether any of these expressions could be used naturally in your argument. Now check your answers. Then take the vocabulary and idioms quiz. Task E. Discussion language. Study the discussion language and complete the activity. Practice using these expressions to help you structure and communicate your argument clearly. Task F. For and against. Listen to both model arguments and follow along in your textbook. Notice how each speaker states a position, develops reasons, introduces evidence, and uses the language from the unit. Consider which arguments you find most convincing.
Texting has become a common form of digital communication, but its widespread use is gradually weakening traditional literacy skills. Frequent use of text speak encourages linguistic simplicity, making formal writing more difficult. Linguistic study data published in New Media and Society in 2012 found a negative relationship between adolescents' use of text speak and scores on a grammar assessment. Contrary to what might be expected, it appears that habits developed through abbreviated writing can carry over into contexts where standard grammar is required. This may contribute to syntax errors and reduced accuracy in formal writing. Another concern is that excessive texting may shorten students' attention span, making it harder to read lengthy texts and produce structured essays. Students become accustomed to brief messages rather than developing sustained reading and writing habits requiring concentration. Furthermore, the use of informal language in school assignments can weaken students' awareness of academic writing conventions. While texting remains a useful communication tool, educators should emphasize the importance of the written word in formal contexts. Strong literacy skills remain essential for academic success, professional communication, and critical thinking. Excessive texting may therefore weaken traditional literacy skills when informal writing habits influence formal communication.
The claim that texting is damaging traditional literacy skills overlooks the natural evolution of language. texting has become an important form of communication, encouraging people to engage with written language. Linguistic study data published in the Journal of Computer-Assisted Learning in 2011 found no significant difference in literacy attainment between children given access to texting and a control group. The study also found that use of text abbreviations was associated with improvements in literacy, particularly spelling. Current research challenges the view that frequent texting contributes to language degradation or declining literacy. Instead, many students adapt their use of colloquial language to different situations and communicate effectively across formal and informal contexts without confusing the two styles. Language has evolved throughout history, and technology represents another stage in that process rather than language corruption. Instead of resisting these changes, educators should grow with the times by teaching students to choose appropriate styles for different audiences and purposes. Understanding when formal and informal language are appropriate can help students become adaptable communicators in digital and academic settings throughout their education and future careers. Texting, therefore, represents linguistic change rather than the decline of traditional literacy.
Task G. Comprehension check. Answer the questions about the model arguments. Identify the speaker's positions and evidence, and practice challenging one of their points. This will help prepare you for the rebuttal task later. Task H. Springboard. Read the quotation and consider how it relates to the topic. Introduce the quote and explain what it demonstrates. Consider whether the quotation could be used to support your own argument. Task I. Exploring evidence. Complete the evidence activity. Each unit introduces a different type of supporting evidence. Consider how this type of evidence can make an argument more convincing and how you could use it in your own argument. Now check your answers. Then take the evidence type quiz. Task J, supporting an argument. Develop a reason for your position and support it using the type of evidence introduced in this unit. This will give you practice connecting a reason with relevant supporting evidence. Task K, gathering data. Study the infographic and identify information that could support either side of the argument. Consider which facts or data would be most useful for supporting your own position. Task L, building an argument. Now bring together what you have learned throughout the unit. Choose whether you are for or against the discussion statement. Use the Building an Argument page to state your position and develop 3 clear reasons, supported with relevant evidence. Use the evidence type introduced in this unit once in your argument, and identify your sources by giving the author or source title and the date. Where appropriate, try to incorporate the discussion language, vocabulary, and idioms you learned in the unit. When you have completed your notes, use them to record your spoken argument and post your recording to the Spoken Argument Forum. Do not simply read your notes, use them to help you explain your argument naturally. Finally, listen to another student's argument. Choose one point they made and record a rebuttal explaining why you disagree. Thank you for your efforts this week. See you in the next lesson.